Hi, and welcome to the Jordan Kinda Knows Something show, where I'll be talking about health, fitness, life, and anything else I kinda know something about. Hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in to the Jordan Kinda Knows Something show. Now, this podcast is going to be somewhere where I talk about health, fitness, lifestyle, anything really that I think is important, that is relevant around the world and relevant with me. It's also going to be kind of a place where I interview professionals and kind of people in fields, kind of having fun and kind of just discussing topics and things with others. So this podcast is going to be kind of a lot. There's going to be a lot going on, and there's kind of no specific structure. So I hope you enjoy it. Thank you all for listening. But this first episode, I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about productivity and kind of being productive with having 100 things kind of going on. Now, I know we are all kind of in this new normal right now with everything going on around the world. So this episode may be super beneficial to you, or maybe you know someone who can benefit from this episode. So definitely feel free to continue listening and pass it on as well. Now, I am actually in a Master's of Physiotherapy program. So it is a full-time intensive kind of program, which requires me to be in school and kind of be doing schoolwork about, I would say, anywhere between 30 to 40 hours per week. Now, on top of that, I have, of course, my side hustles. So my YouTube channel, this podcast, my blog. I work part-time, and kind of I like to stay fit, and I do CrossFit, go to the gym. I'm kind of starting to kind of do the whole bodybuilding thing now. I like to hang out with my friends, so it can all get to be a lot. So I definitely have needed to find ways to kind of stay productive and be sure to fit everything in to the day. Now, this first thing that I do every single morning is super basic, and it's something that doesn't sound like it is important or doesn't sound like it can help, but it really does help a lot. So the thing that I do every single morning is I wake up and I write a list. Now, this list kind of is a way for me to kind of plan out the day, but more so to list off everything that I want to have done by the end of the day. So I kind of structure this list, or actually I don't structure the list. There is no structure to the list in the beginning. I just kind of list off everything that I want done in the day, and then I kind of go from there. So this list kind of consists of schoolwork. It consists of planning YouTube videos, of editing YouTube videos. It consists of making sure that I am prepped for all of my schoolwork. So I'm doing the pre-readings and things like that. I'm watching all of the required videos, making sure that I'm kind of staying on top of everything. So I essentially every morning just list out everything that I want to get complete throughout that day. After that, I kind of take some time and kind of structure the list. So I kind of make little asterisks at the end of things that are super important. So things that I have to get done by the end of today. Let's say I have a lecture the next day and there's a recording that I need to watch today. So that would be an example of something that is super important and I have to get done today. So I kind of move that to the top of the list. And things that are less important, like maybe editing a YouTube video or maybe coming up with a few more ideas for videos. Those things can kind of move down to the end of the day, and I kind of know that they won't take as long as watching a hour or two long lecture, making notes on all of that and things like that. So it really helps me to kind of plan out the day like that and kind of make sure that I have important stuff kind of at the top so that I don't forget about anything, and then having less important things kind of within the day as well. And I think those less important things. So for me, when I say less important things, I mean actually something like coming up with YouTube video ideas. So something like that, I actually think is a lot more fun than watching an hour-long lecture and then spending another hour kind of making notes on that lecture. So because that's a little bit more fun, and because I could spend hours on just that alone, on just creating some new ideas and structuring a video, it's kind of good to have that in my day, because then when I am on breaks from studying or from the more important things, I can kind of chunk that less important stuff in between, the things that I find a little bit more fun and the things that I don't really think of as work. So there is this concept kind of called time blocking. If you haven't heard of time blocking, it essentially is kind of setting chunks of time throughout the day to specific tasks. So I essentially kind of do this. I set specific time frames throughout, each task, and I essentially stick to that time frame. So if I have, let's say, a lecture that I know is 30 minutes long, and then I know it's probably going to take me an hour to do notes after that, then I may kind of block that as an hour and a half just for lecture. After that, I may chunk maybe 30 minutes to planning a YouTube video, and then spend maybe 30 minutes organizing my room, for example. So just structuring and blocking time like that is super beneficial, especially because it's super easy to spend all day on something, right? So something like organizing my room. I could spend hours and hours and hours organizing my room, refolding everything, maybe color coordinating things if I wanted to. I could spend hours on just doing that. So making sure that I kind of time block that into my day, making sure that I have maybe a 30-minute timer, and once that timer goes off, I'm done, is super important, and it kind of stops procrastination from happening, right? And it kind of stops me from doing those less important things, and gets me back to those more important things that I kind of have to do before the next day. So time blocking is super useful, and it's something that I use pretty much every day. And I've found it kind of really helps me get all of those important things done, as well as get kind of the less important things in throughout my day so that I can kind of chip away at them. So essentially, some days though, my list is super long. So I may have, let's say, 10 things on my list, and I definitely know that I probably won't get all of those 10 things done. So essentially, even though that there are 10 things on that list, as long as I've kind of structured that list from kind of the most important to the less or the least amount important at the end, as long as I have those kind of important things done, then I'm totally okay with moving those smaller tasks to kind of the next day, or even chipping away at them. So that's kind of why I overwrite essentially, or I make a list bigger than kind of I know that I can accomplish, because I like to have smaller tasks that I can kind of chunk in throughout the day that I know, okay, like going back to that room example, me cleaning my room, I know again, I could spend 2 or 3 days cleaning my room because it is such a mess, and because I just know that I can reorganize things over and over again. So maybe spending 30 minutes every day, or not every day, that's overkill, spending 30 minutes throughout the day is just kind of a good break for me. And it's kind of a good way for me to kind of split up my day and make sure that I'm getting everything I need to be getting done without actually overdoing it and without actually procrastinating. Now, if you're like me and you have this kind of full-time obligation, but you also have a side hustle, maybe you have a blog, maybe you have a YouTube channel, maybe you're selling clothes. Just kind of having that side hustle can also be a lot of work. It can be super fun, but again, you also want to kind of have to, or you want to be able to put time in it so that it can be successful, or so that you can kind of have fun with it. So again, if you have a full-time obligation, maybe you work a 9 to 5 job, it can get exhausting and it can be hard to kind of fit in things like your side hustle. So this time blocking is super beneficial and it can really help you with things like that side hustle, because again, you can chip away at it and you can implement it maybe to the end of the day. Spending an hour a day or 2 hours a day on it may be enough in the beginning to kind of help you get things going or to kind of help you with that side hustle. So again, for me, some days I do start as early as 9 a.m. Sometimes, majority it's 8 a.m. and I'm done as late as 5 p.m. So in addition to kind of school, in addition to going to the gym, I also kind of sometimes want to spend time on that side hustle. So time blocking is kind of a way for me to do that. It's a way for me to do that because I can spend, or I can chunk in maybe 2 hours a day. So maybe at 7 p.m., I know, okay, from 7 to 9 p.m., or even just from 7 to 8 p.m., I'm going to work on my blog, for example, and kind of doing that maybe every night, doing that a couple times a week, maybe enough for me to kind of get that side hustle going and to kind of make sure that I'm kind of spending time on it, as well as doing my job and as well as not having to sacrifice the more important things, things like paying the bills and stuff like that. So again, it can be hard, especially if you have all of these things going on. But for me, working on my YouTube channel, for example, it doesn't feel like a job, and I don't want to ever want it to feel like a job. So for me, spending an hour or two out of the day just kind of doing that, in the evening, for example, generally it's not a big deal. Even if I've had a long day, I kind of enjoy like making videos, and I kind of enjoy editing and kind of going through that whole process. So it's kind of, I guess, a relaxation method for me, and it's kind of a way to wind down, sorry. And it's kind of a way for me to just kind of have fun in the evening. So that's definitely a way for me to kind of relax and a way for me to fit in this kind of side hustle while still going to school and working towards the ultimate goal of being a physiotherapist. So the final thing that I kind of wanted to discuss, and the thing that I found probably most beneficial, in addition to kind of implementing all of that stuff that I mentioned before, was kind of just a daily routine and kind of making sure that you're sticking to that routine every day. So for me, my daily routine is I generally wake up really early in the morning, between 5:30 and 6 a.m. I usually spend anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes to kind of meditate and chill out in the morning. And then I'll go make some coffee and maybe just kind of watch Netflix, go on YouTube, kind of things like that. If I have a super busy day, then I'll use that morning to go to the gym. But for the most part, I will go to the gym in the evening or right after school. So my day kind of every morning starts with me waking up, doing meditation, and then essentially getting ready for school after that, kind of making breakfast and getting ready for the day. I kind of go to school, and then at the end of the day, it's usually gym, maybe do some more studying, but for the most part, by 5 p.m., I'm kind of done and I'm kind of burnt out with all of the school things. So it's kind of gym in the evening for an hour, come home, get dinner ready, get ready for the next day, and work on the side hustle for maybe an hour or two, and then get ready for bed. So that kind of consistency and that kind of routine is something that worked for me, and it's a way for me to kind of make sure that I'm fitting in going to the gym and all of my training and fitness goals, making sure that I'm kind of spending time doing the channel and doing this podcast and things like that. It's a way for me to make sure that I'm doing all of my schoolwork. In addition to that, kind of seeing friends and things like that. So making sure that I'm saving time to kind of hang out with my friends and go out to events and things like that. So yeah, those are really all of the things that kind of really helped me throughout quarantine. It's helped me now, especially when school and in-person classes have started up again and my schedule is even more busy than it was before, they're just little things that have really helped me and things that I hope can help you. And I hope some things kind of make sense to you, and you've kind of learned to tip or trick to try and implement to your days. So I thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next week.